Hello, and here we are with another awesome episode of BariAftercare, the podcast. If you're watching the video, you can see I've got the workout vibe going on because Kelsey and I are getting ready to record some workout videos yet today. Well, I'm excited. There are two words we're going to dig into today in this podcast episode, and they're called modification and transformation. So the title for today's episode is Modification or Transformation? What's it going to be? I'm going to tell you how I came up with this topic today, and I'm pretty excited about that because it was one of those things that just kept popping into my life from the universe. And so I was paying attention and thought, man, this has to go on a podcast. We're going to talk about what is the difference between modification and transformation, and this can be a deal breaker or a deal maker when it comes to your long-term success as a post-op bariatric patient or somebody who loses weight in whatever form or fashion in terms of keeping that weight off. And what does it take for a person to transform themselves? We're going to dig right in, and I'm going to end up by giving you some suggestions about what you can do to bring this information home and into your life. Before we begin, because I don't have this podcast advertised or sponsored by anybody, I'm going to dang sponsor it myself. I hope that you have checked out the BariAftercare program online, because if you haven't, you're missing out on a whole support system to help you as you journey in life along the bariatric path. I had a woman say to me the other day, I haven't had surgery, so I'm not really bariatrics. Well, the word bariatric means the study or the science of weight and obesity. So anybody who struggles with the disease of obesity is, in fact, a bariatric person. So there's some misconception about that. So I'm going to encourage anybody who struggles with weight, who is working to lose weight, and who wants to keep weight off to check out the full BariAftercare program online, because we give you tips, tools, education, inspiration, all kinds of videos, whether they be for encouragement or for education or for exercise or for healthy cooking. We got it all on there. And Laura Preston just started a lifestyle episode too, so that's going to be monthly as well. There's a lot of great information on there, and it can help you in your journey of transformation. Ooh, I'm giving it away here. Do you want to modify your life, or do you want to transform your life? So how did I come up with this topic? Well, butterflies actually is what led me there. And a lot of people know that the butterfly is sort of the symbolic emblem of bariatric surgery or weight loss in general, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But the first place that the butterfly thing kind of hit me, not literally, but popped into my mind, was a couple of weeks ago. I attended the ASMBS National Conference, and the ASMBS is the Association for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery, American never mind, but that's what it is, Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery Association. So it's the surgeons, the PAs, the nurse practitioners, the nurses, the dietitians, all the allied health people. So we all go and we listen for days to the research. But the title of this year's conference was the MBS Butterfly Effect, Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery Butterfly Effect. And here's what their promotional material had to say. Bariatric surgery is perhaps the most quintessential butterfly effect in medicine. A patient's transformation, there's that word, a patient's transformation extends far beyond mere pounds lost and can be impactful for multiple different organ systems. Come to the 40th annual ASMBS meeting to learn the most current data about the substantial benefits of weight loss surgery, and then become your own butterfly effect by disseminating this knowledge to patients, colleagues, insurers, and others worldwide. Okay, so that was the first thing. I'm like, why are they calling this the butterfly effect? I get it. I know that the symbol for bariatric surgery is the butterfly effect. And then I looked up another thing about the butterfly effect. And what I learned was the spiritual transformation of a butterfly. And here's what it says about the spiritual transformation of a butterfly. And you may already know this, but I'm going to bring it back to your life and talk about, are you going to be modified in your weight loss journey, or are you going to be transformed? And you'll notice that the ASMBS used the word transform, and now in this definition they're also using the word transform. So maybe you figured out by now that we are favoring transformation over modification. But what does that mean exactly, and how does that pertain to you as you go through your weight loss adventure? So the spiritual meaning of the butterfly encompasses, transformation, rebirth, and personal growth. Loving it, loving it, loving it. It represents the journey of self-discovery, love that even more, and the ability to change and evolve. Butterflies symbolize freedom, lightness, and joy, reminding us to let go of burdens and embrace a sense of liberation. Oh man, that's awesome. So does that not sound like a person? And so we can understand why the butterfly is the symbol for bariatric surgery or weight loss in general, because you're transforming. It's like a rebirth to parts of life that you may have felt you were missing out on because your weight hindered you from participating. Personal growth, absolutely. In this podcast, we talk about all kinds of personal growth. The spiritual transformation of a butterfly, it says, represents the journey of self-discovery. How much have you learned about yourself in this process? So much, I'm sure. Some of it you've liked, some of it you're like, whoa, not sure I was up for this part of the journey. And the ability to change and evolve. We all have that ability. Now, some of us refrain from engaging, even though we have the ability, because it's frightening. It's easier to stay in a safe place, a place of familiarity, rather than embarking on a full transformation. But butterflies, again, symbolize freedom. Freedom from the disease of obesity. It's always going to be there, but the burdens of it don't have to stop you from living life fully. So the butterfly symbolizes freedom, lightness. Weight loss equals lightness, right? And joy. Joy that comes from doing the hard work that it takes to get and maintain this weight loss. Reminding us to let go of burdens and embrace a sense of liberation. So in BariAftercare, we always talk about this goes beyond bariatrics. This goes beyond the disease of obesity and into the transformation of your life, the self-growth, the personal development, the letting go of burdens, and learning to live life a day at a time in the moment. Learning the skills you need to go from modification to transformation. There we go with those words again, right? So the ASMBS conference a few weeks ago with its topic, the MBS butterfly effect, was the first kind of like, okay, here's a butterfly. Didn't think too much about it. But then I was listening to my favorite trashy podcast. It's actually a morning radio show here in the Atlanta area, but it is, what's that word? I don't know radio words, but it's syndicated. That's it. It's syndicated and it's played in a lot of different parts of the country. Well, a lot of people don't have a lot of time to listen to radio anymore, but they've also taken all of the episodes and put them onto a podcast. So I listen to the Burt Show podcast when I'm, cleaning the house, or sometimes when I go for a walk, or if I have 10 minutes in between a session and I'm up taking the dog out, because it is sort of like The Young and the Restless to me. It's a guilty pleasure. It's fun. It's light. Well, it's not always light, but it's just a form of entertainment that to me is more lighthearted than a lot of the work that I do. So I like to watch The Young and the Restless when I'm on the treadmill, and I like to listen to the Burt Show for a little bit of lighthearted entertainment. And you get connected to the characters. Like, people tease me about The Young and the Restless. Like, is Victor still on there? Yes, he is. He is 83 years old in real life, and he's still on that show. And he's been on it since its inception, which is 40 or 50 years ago. And I've been watching it almost the whole time. Anyway, on The Burt Show, there's a new host. She's been on the show for about a year. She's young, in her mid-20s. And she's been talking about entering this new season of her life. Not fresh out of college. She had a job after college, but this is her first big real job. She moved from Florida to Atlanta, so it's a new season of her life. And there's another character named Mo who's been on the show for probably 4 or 5 years now, and he was talking to her about the season he went through when he moved to Atlanta to become part of the Burt Show. So Mo goes on this little talk about how he went to church for the first time in a really, really long time. And he said, and a lot of people feel this way, even if you're not a church person, maybe you'll be listening to some kind of message, whether it's a spiritual one or just a motivational talk of some sort. He's like, I was in there for the first time, and it was like, man, this preacher's talking to me. I swear he prepared this message just for me. And a lot of times we'll feel like that. Because Mo, prior to going to church, was talking to his friend about the different seasons of life and how you have to learn to live in the moment, because moments are going to come and go. Some moments, some seasons are really exciting and adventurous and full of new growth. And some seasons, it's kind of like nature, right? Some seasons are about, things on the earth dying and transforming and changing. And then we have spring, and it's about growth. And so we have different seasons of life. And if we are able to, like some people are, if we're able to learn to adjust in each season, and Mo was saying the people who tend to adjust, like they're able to move on to a different season without trying to hold on to the old one that they were in, are the people who seem to do better in life. So he says he goes to this church service, and up on the screen was the title of the message. And the title of the message was Seasons. So he thought, I'm bringing this into the Burt Show, and I'm going to tell Abby what I learned at church, because we were just talking about seasons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And just to give credit where credit is due, the pastor who gave the message was Dr. Darius Daniels, who apparently has several different churches, and I guess he's out of Duluth, Georgia. So if you want to look him up. But this topic, the message was about seasons. So the next few things I'm going to share with you, which will get us to where the other butterfly thing came in, and which will really resonate with this process of weight loss and maintaining weight loss, was remarkable. All right, so here goes Mo, my friend from the podcast, off to the church, had been talking about seasons in his life, and Dr. Darius Daniels has a message completely based on seasons. And he talked about transformation, and he may or may not have used the word radical transformation, but it took Mo back to a moment when he was going through a transition into a new season of life. And Abby's going through that transition in a new season of life. And when you have weight loss surgery, or you lose weight rapidly with GLPs, or by any other means of weight loss, you go through a radical transformation. And a radical transformation is defined as a complete change in appearance or the character of something or someone. So a complete change. Now, when we talk about the difference between modification and transformation, you'll understand that you have a choice here. When you go through surgery, you can have a modification or you can have a transformation. And I'm here to encourage you to go the transformation route. Not just a modification in your body, but a transformation, a change, not just in your appearance, but in your character, in your being, in your life, in every arena, beyond bariatrics, which is what we stress in BariAftercare. So the pastor was talking about how adjusting to a new lifestyle can be overwhelming. Do we not talk about lifestyle in the world of bariatric medicine? Yes, because people have lost and regained weight over time. And oftentimes, yes, it's partly the disease of obesity, which works against you, but it's also the lack of change in lifestyle. Lifestyle to include food you eat, exercise you do, so the physical things, but also a way of thinking, a way of being in the world, a way of projecting yourself into the world, a way of communicating in the world. So a whole person lifestyle. The topic in this service was seasons and how it can be difficult to transition into new seasons and how this new lifestyle, bariatric patients, can be overwhelming. The new lifestyle that I had to adopt or that I chose to adopt in order to make a big, huge transformation in my life when I went through treatment many years ago was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. But here's the deal. Here's what the pastor said. And let this sink in. He said, life happens for you, not to you. Life happens for you, not to you. So in the episode of BariAftercare, maybe it was the last couple of weeks when we did the 2-part series, we talked about how when we engage in personal power, we let go of a victim attitude, a victim way of seeing life. If you go around thinking that life happens to you, that's a victim mentality. Oh, why did this have to happen to me? How could you have done this to me? That's a victim mentality. Yes, things happen in life that affect you. But what the pastor is saying and what you will hear in a lot of motivational talks is life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Because when things happen, when you go through things, and it may be a transformation, it may be a season change, it may be a circumstance or a situation. Somebody cheats on you and you think, why did they do this to me? Well, here's the reality. They didn't do this to you. They cheating and it's affected you. Do you think when somebody cheats, they have you in mind? They're not doing this to you. They're doing this for them. But we get into that mentality. Oh my God, how could they do this to me? And it feels that way. I understand that and I have compassion for it. But a transformation is changing your way of thinking. And we also talked about perspective versus perception in recent podcast episodes. And go back and listen to those. And the pastor was saying, when you go through these changes, when things happen in your life, not to you, but for you, your perspective, how you choose to look at that will be, you know what? Even God's picking on me. God's showing me what's wrong in the world, or God's showing me what's wrong with me. The pastor was saying, you know what? What's being highlighted about what may be wrong in your life or your marriage or your eating habits or your lack of exercise or your health, what's going on that is wrong here is maybe you're being shown this because you're being shown what you need to fix. Maybe you're being shown what you need to change. So your perspective, how do I want to look at this? Oh, how could they have done this to me? Versus, what's my part in this situation that I can look at? I can't change anybody else or what they do or how they think or how they behave. But what about me? First of all, I can think, what do I need to learn from this? And every time we talk about having a relapse or a setback with weight or what you've eaten in a day, what's your perspective? Do you say, I give up, I failed, why bother? Or do you say, what can I learn from this situation so that hopefully I can prevent from engaging in it next time? So it's your attitude, not, oh my God, everything's pouring down on me, everything's wrong, what else could happen? Well, watch, because something will, right? Something can always happen and it can always be worse. But if we look at these things and go, okay, life seems to be raining turds on me right now. What is it I can learn about how I can get out of this storm. Not this is happening to me, but it's happening for me. Love that. Now, if you want to transform rather than modify, and I know I'm dangling this like a carrot, and I haven't told you why you want to do more than modify, but you want to transform, listen in. But if you want to transform and make that total transformation, mind, body, spirit, physical, emotional, mental, then you look at what's happening around you that is not pleasing you, that's looking at all the muck, and you go, what can I learn from this? Now, these are the words that Mo reported that the pastor said, the pastor being Dr. Darius Daniels in his message on seasons. Listen to this. This is total bariatric, but the talk wasn't about bariatrics, but it is so applicable. The pastor said, a lot of people have butterfly dreams, but want to remain a caterpillar. Oh my God, that is powerful. A lot of people have butterfly dreams. I want to transform. I want to be different. I want to change my life, my attitude, my appearance. I want to be free. I want to fly. I want to explore. I want to make that transformation from caterpillar to butterfly. That's my butterfly dream. But they want to remain a caterpillar. Stated differently in Connie words, you don't want to do the work. You want to be the butterfly. You want to go through the transformation. You want to not only lose the weight, but you want to have the full happy life. But you want to stay a caterpillar. It don't work that way, my friends. So Mo was taking notes during the sermon, and the pastor said, you can't do that. Listen to this. Oh, again, powerful words coming your way. You can't fulfill butterfly dreams with caterpillar discipline. Oh, all I could do was like cheer when I heard that. You cannot fulfill butterfly dreams with caterpillar discipline. I want to be transformed. I want to learn to enjoy exercise. I want to learn to love eating healthy. I want to learn healthy communication skills. I want to have those healthy boundaries. I want to stand up for myself, and I want to use that assertive communication. But it scares me. Well, of course it scares you. But if you're going to stay living like a caterpillar because it's familiar and it's comfortable, you're not going to achieve the butterfly dreams. You're not going to get the full transformation. And that is not only with weight and weight loss and living a fuller, healthier lifestyle. It is with anything that you dream to be. I didn't get the diploma that says PhD on it by not doing homework, by saying these classes scare me and these people are too smart and I'm afraid of statistics. I said I was afraid of statistics. I knew those people were super smart and I was afraid, but I did the work anyway. You can't fulfill butterfly dreams with caterpillar discipline. Meaning, if you want the caterpillar dreams, you got to do the gotta do-ems, the physical and the emotional ones. Here's another thing the pastor said. I'm telling you, I was just like in fuego listening to this. Before you start to glow up, you've got to grow up. Oh, boy, do I love it when I hear other people tell people, adult people, to grow up. Because you can't shine. You can't glow. You can't be your very best self if you're not willing to grow up. What that means in the world of bariatrics is you've got to quit complaining. You got to quit whining about how hard it is. You've got to accept that it's hard, and you've got to be willing to do the hard work. You've got to accept that, yeah, it requires exercise regularly for the rest of your life, but just one day at a time in this moment. Yes, you have to accept that today and every today that comes your way that you are privileged to have, that you eat healthier foods, many more healthier foods than unhealthy foods. It means that you do what you were told at your bariatric program. You eat every 3 to 4 hours or 3 meals a day or however they have taught you. But you do that and you start with protein. It means you grow up and say, this is the choice I have made, and these are the things that go along with it. When your kid takes the car out and brings it home after curfew, you say you chose the consequence, which is me taking the keys. You chose the consequence by coming home late, and you knew that coming home late meant you lose the keys. So before you can start to glow up, you've got to grow up. Now, this is a little confusing in bariatric world because as people lose weight, they're like, ooh, I'm shining, I'm glowing. It's that honeymoon where they haven't really had to do the growing up stuff. It's where they don't have to do a whole lot of anything because the surgery or the medicines are getting that weight off and they think that they're glowing, right? But eventually, who you are, when that honeymoon period ends and that weight loss comes to a slow crawl and stops and maybe even starts to regain, that's when the growing up comes in. Am I doing the things I've got to do? Am I building my caterpillar dreams by using caterpillar discipline? Or am I building butterfly dreams by using butterfly discipline? Or do I just want what I say I want, but I don't want to do the work? You can't fulfill butterfly dreams with caterpillar discipline. Okay, here come our 2 words. And these are from the pastor. People are more comfortable with modification than they are with transformation. People are more comfortable. Oh, this is so true in bariatric world. People are more comfortable with modification, not transformation. And they are 2 completely different things. So now I'm going to tell you the difference between, and I want you to ask yourself, what do I want? Do I want modification or do I want transformation? And here's a spoiler alert. If you want modification, then you are going to apply caterpillar discipline, meaning you will never achieve your butterfly dream. If you want transformation, then you learn what it takes to have the discipline required to go through the transformation and become the butterfly. So with modification, and again, this is from the sermon on seasons, with modification, you just become a different version of what you already are. But you don't go into this new person that you need to become if you're going to be successful in your new season of life. So with surgery, with weight loss meds, you're going to modify your body. You're going to change your body. And that's it. That's it. That's it. So if you're a person who has a cheery disposition and a positive attitude and you lose weight, you're still going to be a person with a cheery disposition and you've lost weight. You've modified. If you're a person who bemoans, your luck in life having the disease of obesity and, you think everybody's out to get you and everybody's watching you and everybody's thinking horrible things about you. You've got a pretty negative attitude about life and eating healthy and I don't want to exercise and I don't like to eat breakfast and you bemoan and bemoan and bemoan. You're going to be that same person with a slimmer body. That's modification. So you are going to be who you are. And again, if you lose weight rapidly and quickly, for a moment, you're going to have this spike where you think you've transformed. But promise you this, it's a temporary spike. It's a temporary spike because you are who you are until you do whatever it takes to become somebody different. Weight loss surgery and weight loss medications will give you a modification in what your body looks like. A different version of what you look like. But if you're looking to be a person who wants to get out there and live a full life and get their mind off of a weight loss mentality, meaning forget about the dumb scale and get out there and try new things and go after the things you've always aspired to do or dreamt about doing. If you want to be the person that's encouraging other people and not comparing yourself to other people, if you want to be the person who teaches other people how this is done, then you need to go for the transformation. A transformation. A transformation is becoming a new you, inside and out. Not a completely different person, but an advanced, better version. So you might have the negative thought, but you move on past it and go, that's not who I want to be. I may have the urge to pick a fight with my husband, but I move past that urge because I want to be different and better. I want to transform from my addicted way of life and thinking to a person who is not only clean and sober, which would be a modified version of me with the same negative attitudes and insecurities and way of thinking about the world. I wanted to transform. I wanted to learn to not only use drugs, alcohol, or anything mood altering to get on with life and learn to live life on life's terms, but I wanted to become a person who knew how to have a healthy relationship, who learned skills to be a better mom, who had skills to be a good friend instead of always comparing myself or always feeling less than. I wanted to be a person who dealt with my insecurities so that it didn't rob me of a full life. I wanted to transform who I was. And that has taken, thus far, 35 years and still working on it. But man, what a better life. A better life. People refer to people who are dry drunks, meaning they've quit drinking, but they still have a nasty attitude or they're still unpleasant to be around. That's a modification. Now, let me give you some examples. So if you modify, this was the example they used in church. There's a difference between I'm not going to be jealous about certain things anymore to I'm not going to be a jealous person anymore, period. One is the modification. You know what? I'm not going to be jealous about, their hair or their weight or their intelligence or their, amount of money they make versus I want to quit being jealous, period. That's transformation. That's transformation. The problem is, and this was still part of that sermon on seasons, we don't always see what we need to change. We have a lot of denial. We have a lot of protection built up around us. Other people, however, do. You can look at your sister, your mother, your father, your friend, your partner, and think, wow, they really need to change their attitude about this, or they really need to be less rigid about that, or they need to be more open-minded about this, or they need to use better manners. We can look at other people and see what they might want to tweak in their life, but it's really difficult to see it in ourselves, right? We look at other people and we do this comparison thing. And we say, God, why did they get the body where they can eat anything and stay the same weight, which they probably didn't. They probably work real hard at it. Or why were they born into a family with so much money they can have all the toys? Or why were they born into the family where, they got all the brains? Or why were they born into the family that got all the musical talent? Or why did they get this? And why did they get that? Why are they tall and I'm so short? And why, we compare. And the pastor was saying it's because each of us has a different assignment. Each of us has something different we were meant to do in the world. Your path is intended for you. My path is intended for me. Remember my envy of Brene Brown? I say she's everywhere I want to be. Well, I've had to come to terms with if that were the path God wanted me to be on, that was the path that I would be on. The path God wants me on is the one that I am on. So there may be changes I need to make to be a better version of myself along this path, but God has you on the path, or the universe, or your higher power. You can choose what you do with the path or the place in which you were born, in which you with what you were given or what you think you weren't given. But you have to choose what you do in that with that. So, leaving the old life, this is still part of this sermon. This is the last point from that. But leaving an old life and starting a new life is one of the hardest seasons you'll go through because you have to let your old self die. That's what the minister says. So think about this in terms of bariatric surgery. What do you have to be willing to let die if you want to be the butterfly, if you want to have a full, healthy life and maintain that weight loss? You have to let die unhealthy old habits. You might have to let die the habit of going through fast food. You might have to let die skipping meals. You may have to let die a lot of preserved foods. You might have to let die the habit of being a couch potato 24/7. You have to make changes, leaving an old life and starting a new one. As you enter this new season, you have to let parts of your old self die. And the pastor said these growing pains associated with the new life are rough. They are difficult. Hello, bariatric people. Do we not know how difficult it is to get in all the water, to take the bariatric specific vitamins, to get in the amount of protein we're supposed to get in the exercise, to get in all the things on the gotta do's list, right? And it can be very lonely because maybe your family's not in the journey with you. Maybe they're not as enthusiastic. Maybe your partner, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, they're like, do what you want, but I'm not in that game. I didn't sign up for that. So it can be a lonely place, which can make it even more difficult. But when you truly want to become a butterfly, and if you truly want to fly in your new season of life, you'll endure whatever the loneliness or the darkness may be. And here's the real rub. How does a caterpillar become a butterfly? It goes into its chrysalis, right? And where do they go? They go into their chrysalis, and who goes with them? Nobody. Nobody. Nobody can do this hard work for you. Nobody can take you through the process of becoming a caterpillar into a butterfly but you. You alone have to do the hard work. You alone have to do it even if people are fighting against you. You alone have to make the decision of what you put in your mouth if you exercise, the people you hang out with. Sure, you're going to have a community to help and support you, but it's up to you to reach out to them and to utilize the support. But caterpillars go into the chrysalis alone. And the pastor said alone is where the changes occur. In my mind is where my mindset changes. In my mind is where I say I'm doing this no matter what. In my mind, I say, if you're not going to help me, then I'm going to do this without you. Alone is where the changes occur. Then you can soar. Then you can help others. And remember what the spiritual journey of the butterfly is. It's going through the transformation, not just the physical modification, but the transformation to becoming a person who is then able to help others. We use our growth. We use what we've learned. We've used the changes that we've made, the hard work, the dark times, the struggle to encourage the other people who are coming along after us, right? That's what they say in the 12 steps. You know, you can't keep it if you don't give it away. In bariatric world, you've got to help and encourage others. And as you do that, you reinforce to yourself the importance of doing the things that you have to do, the gotta do-ums. So you can soar and help others. You have to go through the process and the pain. And then you may know why you were born into the world you were born into, why I was born an addict, why I was born into a family riddled with addiction. Because I got the opportunity to find sobriety and learn skills to be assertive and more confident and use healthy communication and learn to set boundaries and increase and develop my personal power so that I can help others soar if they choose to. Okay, so let me just kind of refresh the differences between modification and transformation, and then you're going to choose. You choose every day based on what you do. It's an active process. So with modification, again, you become a different version of what you already are, but you don't become the new person. You don't become that, I'm going to go make the best and the fullest of my life. Because the definition of modification or modify is to make partial or minor changes to something. Partial or minor changes. So you want to improve it or make it less extreme. So in the case of weight loss, right, what are we modifying? The size of the body. If you're going to go further than that, you want to do more than modify just the size of your body. Are you going to modify your attitudes? Are you going to modify or transform who you are on the inside? Are you going to transform your self-talk? Are you going to transform the comparisons you make? Are you going to transform yourself out of that victim mentality if you have that? So modification is a partial or minor change. Sadly, I see most people, whether it be in the world of recovery from alcohol and drugs or any kind of addiction, or whether it's through the journey of weight loss, I see more people make modifications than I do transformations. And this hurts my heart. But I can't do it for anybody. I can only do it for myself. You can only do it for yourself. We can encourage, we can lead the horse to water, but everybody's got to make the choice to go beyond modification to transformation. All right, so let's talk about this awesome thing of transformation. Radical transformation, a huge change, a complete change, not only in the person, in the appearance, but in the attitudes, in the willingness to work, in the self-talk, in the level of how you let the past control your present, in terms of whether or not you learn to take on and use that personal power for your own good. So transformation in the weight loss process. Somebody who transforms themselves and goes beyond just losing the weight is saying, what's my why? I want to live longer. I want to be healthier. I want to be more active. I want to be present with my kids. I want to embark on these new adventures. And they keep that why front and center. And then when the going gets tough, they go, but my why, my why, my why. I'm going to follow that why, and I'm going to keep that why front and center. And they get rid of that miserable focus on the scale because that keeps you stuck in modification mode. It keeps you stuck being a caterpillar and not becoming a butterfly because you're all focused on this ridiculous mindset, the weight loss mindset. We want to move beyond the mindset of weight and bariatrics, beyond bariatrics. Become the amazing human being in all aspects of your life that you were born to be. So if you're going to transform, focus on the why, not the number. Transformation includes changing how you think about yourself and how you talk to yourself. How many episodes of BariAftercare, how much of the Gain While You Lose class is focused on changing how you think? Because it's one of the biggest things that keeps people stuck as a caterpillar and prevents them from becoming a butterfly. I can't do it. It's too hard. Why bother? I'm a failure. Those things are not going to help you transform. Your body may be modified, but you are not going to flourish because those thoughts, negative attitudes don't incorporate the kind of discipline needed to become a butterfly. So the discipline to become a butterfly is effort. It's doing it when you don't feel like it. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But transformation includes, it has to include learning. You can't just flip a switch. But when you're in that chrysalis and you're doing that changing in your thinking process and you're learning and you're taking steps to learn, you're listening to podcasts, you're taking courses on healthy communication, you're taking courses or looking up how to have healthy boundaries, you're looking up how to have healthy coping skills rather than engaging in emotional eating. If you have a food addiction, you're looking into and learning how to overcome and be in recovery from the disease of addiction, in addition to the disease of obesity. Transformation means changing your mindset from one of a victim. Oh, I'm always picked on because I'm heavy. Yes, that's a true statement. But are you going to continue to be like that? And are you going to continue to live your life that way? Are you going to go, you know what? People I don't even know or care about, say what you want. Or even the people who you do know and care about, if they say hurtful things, that's about them, my friends, not you. Don't take it personally. If you're going to continue to take it personally and let it push you into the ground and you're just not worth it, that's a you problem. You have the choice to learn. You have the choice to learn the skills to let that go and not take it in. You have that choice. And a person who chooses to transform is going to do the work. They're going to get in that chrysalis and they're going to work hard in their brain and they're going to say, I'm making these changes. I am making the changes in my mindset. I am not a victim. I have personal power and I'm going to use it for the betterment of myself and of others. And a person who's going to transform and not just modify is going to become an adult. They're going to GTFU, grow the F up. And that means I will learn healthier communication. I will learn to set boundaries. I will find the courage to speak up for myself and share my thoughts and share my feelings and share my attitudes. Because when I don't, I stuff them in. And when I stuff them in with food or alcohol, or I spend a lot of money, or I do things that are equally harmful because I'm not being true to myself. I'm not taking care of myself. Being a person who transforms is a person who learns to engage in healthy self-care. And standing up for yourself is healthy self-care. And again, when we keep things bottled up inside us, not only do we get sick in our minds, but we get sick in our bodies because a lot of medical illnesses come from keeping things inside that need to be spoken. So what does it take to transform yourself? It requires willingness. It requires a lot of willingness. You may have heard me say this, but I tell you couples all the time. It's not, are there going to be problems? It's, what do I do when there are problems? Because there are going to be problems. And I truly believe that more couples could stay together if they were willing to do a couple of things. And this goes for you if you want to transform your life as part of your weight loss journey into being the best version of you. You've got to become willing to look at yourself and what your own dang issues are. Because we can point out everybody else's and we can say, I'm leaving this marriage or this relationship because you do this and you don't do this and I want you to do this and I need you to do that. And we can blame the person all day long. And yeah, they may need to do some of that stuff. So what it takes is willingness. If it's in a relationship, it requires willingness from both parties to look at their own things and change their own self. If you are trying to transform yourself and your life after weight loss, then you need to be willing to look at yourself and say, do I have negative attitude? Do I have a negative mindset? Do I look at myself as a victim? Do I engage in negative thinking? Do I engage in comparison? Do I engage in gossiping and all the unhealthy things? Do I behave like a child? Or do I get what I need as an adult? Do I even know what a healthy adult looks like? Well, if not, then maybe I need to take Gain While You Lose this fall and find out what I need to do to become a healthy adult. But you have to be willing in order to have a transformation to go through the dark times, knowing that taking the time to learn and to grow is going to result in a healthier version of you. So you will not just modify your body, but you will transform your being. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to say, I don't know how to have healthy communication. I don't know how to stand up for myself. I don't know how to, whatever it is you don't know how to do. And there's a lot of things we don't know how to do that we need to learn. And we're not going to learn it by sitting down and doing nothing. We're going to learn it by becoming active. Either take a class, get a therapist, get a coach, look online. You got to learn it. You've got to be willing to spend time alone. People want to do anything but spend time alone because then they have to go into their chrysalis with just themselves. And who wants to be alone with themselves? Because I hate myself. No. Go in there and go, you know what? I don't like this about myself. What is it I need to do to change it? And then ruminate on it. Ask your higher power. Ask your inner self, your inner wisdom. Get in touch with that. And then find people around you to support you in making those changes. You have to be willing to spend time with healthy mentors, whether that be a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist, a coach, a dietitian, a personal trainer, whatever it is, whatever you need. Get out there and get it. Get out there and get it. And you have to be willing sometimes to change playmates and playgrounds. You're only going to be as successful as the people you hang around. So if the people you hang around are working on learning and growing and becoming transformed people themselves, you're more likely to become like that. If you're around a bunch of negative Nellies who are pulling you down and discouraging you and saying, oh, you don't need to do that today, hang around them too long and you're going to be sitting right on that couch with them, having modified but not transformed. And sometimes you got to change playgrounds. You can't go to the same old eating places. You can't go to the same old... maybe you can't go to the family reunion if you can't stay away from the table with all the food. Maybe you can't go into the grocery store anymore. Maybe fast food is out of bounds for you. You've got to be able to be willing to change playmates and playgrounds. There are a lot of things you have to be willing to do more than modify by slight change, which is of your body size in the weight loss world, to be transformed. It's an inner journey, my friends. It's an inner journey with a lot of help from people outside, but nobody can do it for you. Can't do it alone, but nobody can do it for you. So here's your takeaways and your to-dos. Make a list of modifications that you're going to undergo as you lose weight. So your clothes are going to fit differently. You're going to wear a different size. You might have wrinkly skin. What are the modifications, the slight changes that come from weight loss? People might treat you differently. That's a modification, not a transformation, because transformation is a within thing, not something without. And then make a list of the ways you would like to work toward transforming yourself. In other words, where am I stuck? Where do I have caterpillar discipline where I need butterfly discipline? Do I need to exercise more? Do I need to get more adherent with my vitamins? Do I need to set timers to remember when to eat the protein first? Make a list of the ways you would like to work toward transforming yourself, not just the physical gotta do's, but what do I need to do in terms of my way of thinking? Getting rid of that stinking thinking. What do I need to do in terms of improving my willingness to share my honest thoughts with other people? What do I need to do in terms of learning healthy coping skills to replace emotional eating? So it's on you, my friends. It's on you. But a transformation is woohoo all day long, all day long. Change. Here's your take-home messages. Change takes conscious effort. Yes, you're going to have modifications just by having surgery, just by taking medications. But change, transformation takes conscious effort. Nobody can do this for you. You get in that chrysalis, you make a decision about what changes you want to make. And when you come out, you find the people and places to help you do that. Embrace the courage to transform and live the life you were meant to live, which is a good life. We were meant to live a good life. A lot of great stuff in this. And I want to thank Mo from The Burt Show. Shout out to Mo Mitchell and Abby. And I want to also thank the pastor, whose name again was Dr. Darius Daniels from Duluth, Georgia. I did not hear your message, although I heard it through Mo. Thanks for taking those notes, Mo, and I'll put those names in the show notes. You guys, I loved this topic, and I love organically finding and hearing things that I can bring to you for the BariAftercare podcast, because for me, BariAftercare is so beyond bariatrics. It's about transformation. So let's do this thing together. All right. Thanks for joining me. Seriously, thank you for joining me, because I know it's your time. You got lots of things you can choose to do with it. So thanks for spending it with me. Love hearing from you in comments. So comment away and transform on, my friends. Bye-bye.